For more on today's indictment, we are joined now by Michael Cohen. He is, of course, Trump's former attorney and longtime fixer who flipped on Trump and has been cooperating now with federal and state authorities for years. He's also the author of the New York Times bestseller, Disloyal, the true story of the former personal attorney to President Donald J. Trump. And he also has his own podcast now. Well, Michael, it's been quite a day for your former boss, wouldn't you say?
It's been a heavy day for everybody at the Trump Organization because none of them know who's next. And that's the biggest problem. It's the uncertainty that sort of boggles the mind.
So this investigation stemmed from your congressional testimony that the Trump Organization valued its holdings differently when seeking loans versus paying taxes. That part of the investigation continues. Are you at all surprised by today's indictment?
No, not at all. You know, the way that these indictments generally work is that they're done twofold. So the prosecutors can bring a wide range and a sweeping set of indictments that include multiple people, or they can do it the way that they're doing now. But the one thing that you have to acknowledge is that Mark Pomerantz, who's been doing this for years, he is a seasoned veteran when it comes to RICO claims. He knows exactly what he's doing, as does Cyrus Vance Jr. So now couple those two with Tish James, our attorney general, and rest assured that this today is neither the beginning nor the end of this investigation.
Well, let me ask you this. You knew Alan very well. You worked with him. Did you ever believe that he was committing tax fraud? You were on the inside, Michael.
Yeah, but when it comes to what they were doing personally for themselves, nobody knew other than Donald, Alan, and possibly the accountant, and maybe Jeff McConney because he was booking it. But short of that, it's not as if you're going to commit a crime and you're going to bring in other people in the organization to turn around and to say, hey, look, you know, we're just not going to properly book our cars, or I'm giving this guy a free apartment in Manhattan. And so we're not going to, but nobody's going to tell you that sort of stuff. This was stuff that was done only between Donald and Alan.
Well, the indictment shows that there were checks signed by Trump when it came specifically to Weisselberg's private education for his sons. So do you remember that being the case, that Donald Trump signed all the checks?
Yeah, well, Donald Trump signed every check. I mean, there were a handful of checks that Alan was permitted to sign. They were checks that were probably like under $500 or so, or that didn't deal with the Trump Organization. Maybe it was with some of the condos that were recurring checks like water, sewage, et cetera. But every single check in that organization for any expenses, for any invoices, were all done by Donald Trump. So the fact that Donald signed these checks that went to Columbia Grammar and Prep, the private school that the grandchildren go to, and there are all four of them that are there, doesn't surprise me at all.
So let me ask you this. There was a time that you told me you would never break your loyalty to Trump, but in the end, you flipped on him. So will Alan do the same?
Absolutely, 100%, because what you ultimately learn is that, and it's hard to put yourself in my situation, where you really feel that you're something different, that you're special, that Donald Trump would never do to you, for example, what he ended up doing to me. And you start to believe your own nonsense until ultimately what ends up happening? He stops paying the lawyers. And he says, why should I be paying your legal fees? Well, because we have a joint defense agreement, and everything that I'm doing, I did it at your direction and your behest. So he will do the same thing to Alan because history repeats itself. And as soon as he starts getting the invoices and the millions of dollars for the trial expenses and for the litigation expenses, he's going to say, what am I doing? Why am I paying for Alan's legal fees? Let Alan pay for it. There'll be a break. There'll be a rift. And Donald Trump doesn't care about anyone other than himself. So what Alan should be doing is looking to see exactly what happened to me. And he knows because he was involved in those conversations to basically excommunicate me. And what will happen is that he'll get replaced by, say, Don Jr. or Eric or somebody else that'll say, Dad, what are you doing? Or Donald, what are you doing? Why are you paying for Alan's legal fees when this is Alan's fault? Alan's the CFO. Alan was supposed to know that you can't do this. He was working in conjunction with the accounting firm. So why are you paying for it? And Donald will be like, you're right. I shouldn't be paying for it. He'll stop. And then all of a sudden, Alan's going to realize, hashtag welcome to Under the Bus Club.
Well, look. Okay, Under the Bus Club. But you had been with him for a decade. Alan has been with him, the family, since the 70s. Clearly, you two know how the Trump organization operates, how Trump operates. You know his personality. So why would Alan hang in there? Why do you hang in there? Is it the gravy train of Trump? I mean, you come out looking pretty good. You get a lot of benefits when you're tied to Trump until you're caught doing something. Then, as you say, you're thrown under the bus. So why did you stick?
I'm so sorry, Kira. I'm so sorry. What benefits are you referring to? Yes, Alan got an apartment for his son. Alan got a car. I never got an apartment. I bought my apartment. And on top of that, I was never given a car. I was never given money towards my vehicle. I owned my vehicle. So what was the benefit? Let me give you the answer into what it is that you think that you're saying. First and foremost, we all believe, for some unknown reason, the Trump org is a cult, and we believe that we're special. We believe that he would never do to us the things that he did or that he's going to do to Alan. So why did I end up coming clean? Because I didn't want history to remember me as the villain of Donald Trump's story. I wasn't going to go down and allow Donald to throw me under the bus. I just couldn't do it to my family. I couldn't do it to the country. And Alan will ultimately see the exact same thing that I did. It's just going to take him a little bit of time.
So you think he's going to flip? We'll wait and see and see what happens. That's exactly what you said you'd even advise him to do. Now, the next question is, when you see in the indictment that it mentions other individuals within the Trump organization, executives, do you think that the former president and or his family members, his kids, will be held accountable in any way for tax fraud or anything else, face any type of criminal charges as we move forward?
So the answer is yes. I do believe that they will all be held accountable for their own dirty deeds. I believe that the documents that are in the possession of the prosecutors at this moment certainly substantiate the statement, and ultimately that's exactly what's going to happen. Each and every one of them are going to get caught up in this broad, sweeping investigation.
Are you going to be a part of that, and are you helping investigators prove that there are other things they need to look into with regard to some type of fraud when it comes to the former president and his kids?
Well, it's been reported I've been before the district attorney more than 10 times. I have provided them with information that they have asked, including documentary evidence. So not to get into the sum and substance of those conversations with the DA and what the probe is, there are more than a dozen different areas that are being investigated at the present moment by both the district attorney as well as the attorney general's office. And each and every one of them is significant. And there are different actors in each of the different investigations. Some, of course, are overlapping, such as Donald, but there are different actors in some of the different investigations. And I do ultimately believe that the Trump family and Donald himself will be held accountable.
I have a feeling we will be talking once again. Michael Cohen, I appreciate your time.
My pleasure, Kira.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.